Hello once again. I have pleasure to present today the feature which we have in FileCloud. It's called Zero Trust File Sharing. So let's start from a couple of words introduction. What actually the Zero Trust means. So it's the kind of approach that in IT we assume that we are not able to trust in 100% to any component of the infrastructure, including obviously people. Wi-Fi Cloud has invented into zero trust file sharing as we are already known as hyper secure solution. So it's actually answer to the requirements or requests from our customers. So it brings the new use cases scenario we can achieve with our solution. It raises higher level of security, obviously, and fulfills some specific regulations around the world. So how this feature can be enabled in the FileCloud instance. So let's start from the Linux-like installation. So basically enabling this feature required one change in configuration files. So here we have on the screen my Linux system where the FileCloud is installed. We need to edit one file, which is typically in this location. So this is the typical location where the FileCloud is installed. There is a config folder, and there is file called cloudconfig.php. We are going to the end of this file, and there is a whole section which is related to the zip folder or zero trust folder configuration. We just change one value from false to true, what is already done with my setup. Write down this file, and this feature is already enabled in our configuration. Very similar it looks on the Windows installation. As you know, we can install FileCloud on both platform Windows and Linux. On Linux, typically installation resides on the C drive, XAMPP folder, htdocs, config folder as well. And there is the same file called cloudconfig.php, which should be edited with your preferred editor. In my case, it's Notepad. Going to the last part of this file and changing the value, which says zip folder enable from false to true. So it's so simple to enable this feature within the installation of the FileCloud. How it looks from the user perspective, what has changed. So this is my favorite part. We can switch to the FileCloud installation and see the FileCloud in action. So I'm going to log in to the FileCloud panel with the regular user without any specific permissions. So typical screen looks like this. From the user perspective, we are getting a new feature which is called new zip file when you are clicking on the button add files and folder. So as soon as we click this button, we are getting the question about the file name. Let's call it test123, doesn't matter. But this is the magic checkbox. We can protect this file by additional password. So I'm going to put some password here. And click button create. We can see on the screen that the file has been created. It looks like a regular zip file, what is actually true. But when you try to open this file, we are going to be asked for the password we have set just a moment ago. When the password is provided, the file is open and it behaves as almost regular folder from the FileCloud perspective. We can also deal a little bit with the permissions on this zip folder or zip file. So let's switch back to our installation. I have prepared already some folders in the team folders we have. Let's assume we are dealing with HR data. Let's create here a new folder, which might be representing some employee or any personal information. So let's call it John Smith. And let's create quickly the new zip file here. Protect obviously by password. So we have right now some personal file which may contain some important information. So let's drop here some files. For example, those two example files, closing this file again. And right now we can share this folder with some external users. So let's assume that we are going to allow view only for this folder. So I'm going to copy the generated link and open it in new incognito browser. So right now I'm opening completely new session, which is independent to the previous one. What I see, I have this file on the screen, but only option available right now is open. I'm not able to download. So let's open this file. Obviously, I need to provide the password, but still I cannot download what is inside this file. So what this zip folder contains is still available only to view. So obviously I can view this, but I'm not able to download. If we change these permissions, for example, to view and download, and repeat the same exercise, so going to open new web browser, paste the copied link, we can see that already download option is available for me, and exactly the same will happen inside the file. So I will be able, so I will be able to download the file which are included in this zip folder. So what kind of use cases are new with this feature? So let's assume what we already did, that we have the team folder, which by default is related to collaboration, so more than one person has access to it. We can assume that multiple users are allowed to view this folder. Right now I'm logged in as user 1, so let's assume that another user, which is called user 2, can access exactly the same location. That's setup of my environment. So can see the John Smith folder, even can see the file inside, but without knowledge of the password to this file, I'm not able to see what kind of data are inside. So it gives us another level of protection, some sensitive data, so we can assume that in HR folder there is a lot of information which are by design directed to multiple HR employees, but some of them might be super critical or contain very important information which might be additionally protected. Very similar situation looks, for example, if we are using desktop application on the Windows box and we access the same location. So we have the same folder structure, HR, we can see the John Smith folder. exists here. I can download this file to my desktop, which is fine. But if I want to extract what is inside, I need to provide the password completely similar as in the GUI, web GUI. So if the password is provided correctly, then all those data are exported to my local disk and I'm able to see the file what is inside. This gives additional use case, what is quite popular in multiple countries where some public institutions are sharing documents with people, citizens, and these files, for example, in the Europe needs to be protected by some password. That's the requirement for the GDPR. Basically, that's it from me. I'm very happy to have a possibility to show you this functionality. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer. Let's see. So the first one I've got on the list is about the enabling. So that this question was answered already during our session. So basically both questions I have on the list are related to the topics which were covered by our session. If there are any other questions, I will be very happy to follow up after our session. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. And I'm hand over back to you, Aoife.
Thank you so much, Mark. And thanks so much to everybody that joined us today. So I'll be sending you guys all a follow-up email that includes the recording of this presentation so you can refer back to it if need be. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have plenty of great assets over there, including all of our previous webinar content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.